Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
So now we explored, we starting from yesterday, we looked at TRLs, we looked at ARLs, and then we understood that there are technology push and demand pull ways in which innovation can happen, and when scientific research or technologies translate from academic labs to market settings. So as I alluded upon briefly in our session previously, when you have multiple market applications, as a startup, you will probably need to choose. You cannot do everything simultaneously. You will have to make a choice. So then the question is, how do you choose? What are the factors you consider? Or what basis will you have to choose? So we had looked at this figure. So let us concentrate more on the technology push side of it. So typically you have some technology that you are considering, you have some technology capabilities, which may lead to a couple of different products. It is possible that in your mind up till now, you might have thought of one product and one market. But it is possible that the technology or technological capabilities that you have might lead to a couple of different products which can go into different markets. So if you have a technology like that, it's more platform in nature, there can be multiple products targeting multiple different markets, that is fine. If you have a technology that is very specific, you can only make one thing with it, and that can only go to this one market application and nothing else, that is also fine. It's not a problem. But you need to find ways to do this process of technology market matching in a systematic manner. So the task that we will have now, so I said that this session we will spend the next little bit of time trying to go through a series of steps for your technology. So everybody works on their own technology, trying to think about these concepts. So for your technology, what are the core capabilities? Is it, remember the post-it note adhesive? Is it a weaker adhesive? Is it something that will enable faster communications? Is it something that will make cardiac stents better and safer? What is the technology that you have, and what are the capabilities of your proposed startup or venture? What are the technical capabilities? So you can list down a couple of them. Then we will look at what market applications can you target with your technology. So up till now, you might have thought of one market application. Try to think broader. Like, again, think of the post-it notes. The people who developed that adhesive were never thinking about that application. So try to think more broadly. What are the ways in which you can target different markets? And when you talk about different markets, who is the user? Who are the people who will purchase your products? Who are the people who will use your products? Who are the people who might be payers for your product? It might be insurance companies, as the case in healthcare. So try and understand what are these different groups and these different options. Then, once you do that, also think about the broader ecosystem or the broader environment. Now here I am giving a figure from a book on orthopedic innovations, and they make a couple of points. They say that, well, you need more and more innovations in this field, in orthopedics as a discipline, because there are aging populations. Aging population means that older people sometimes many older people nowadays want to be as active as possible. Now, it is good that they are active, but sometimes in that there might be falls. So if you look at statistics or data on older people and falls and the health complications that arise from falls, they are significant. The costs of falls are very significant. In fact, I think there is some data from North America which suggests that falls are in fact in hospitals one of the major contributors of costs. So people come in with one thing, but hospitals are also keen to make sure while they are in the hospital they don't fall, because that will lead to another cascading set of effects. Negative influencers on some of these orthopedic innovations might be, well, it's very complex, it's highly regulated, the development times might be very long. So there are some positive factors that impact innovation, there are some negative factors. Let me also give you an example of something which is non-science based, but which speaks to, say, the ways in which technologies evolve and the impact of technology on society and vice versa. So we know that we are in a period of climate change. This means that across the world, wherever you are collecting stats on wildfires, there are more and more wildfires happening. The frequency of wildfires is increasing. The area burnt by wildfires is increasing every year. In many instances, wildfires are operating in or start in very remote locations, which do not have cell phone access, which do not have Wi-Fi or no communication. So how do we, and if you want to combat wildfires, it is easier to combat a wildfire when it is in the early stages, when it is in a small area, than when the wildfire is many thousands of kilometers or hundreds of kilometers. In Canada, we have wildfires every summer season. So this is wildfire season in Canada. The size of those wildfires is such that the smoke from Canada can go up to New York across. The size of the wildfires is such that it can be seen from space. And so these are major problems. And at the same time, now we have communication technologies, imaging technologies, satellites, which can allow for that kind of remote sensing to identify very early on where is a wildfire starting. Maybe 25, 30 years back, you didn't have that level of technology capabilities, which you now have. So there are times when certain technology capabilities have evolved to such a stage that what was a very difficult problem 30 years ago is a standard or small problem now, right? So sometimes the area that you are working in might benefit from technology developments in other domains. So I remember a time many, many years back in India where we used dial-up modems. Not all of you might have used dial-up modems. And there used to be a particular fax like sound, and you wait for one page to load, and then you type your email password, and then you wait, and then you will see somebody sent me an email. It used to be a long task. And now we have these devices which are much more powerful than the computers that I worked with, and a couple of people in the room worked with. We used to boot computers with floppy disks. So from that time to the devices we now have, you can access the internet, you can watch movies or videos on your device, where that would have been, you couldn't have thought of that just 25, 30 years ago, right? So there is tremendous advances in technologies that allow you now to think and to do things that were previously not easily possible. And therefore, when you are in startup mode, when you are exploring technologies, you should also anticipate, how does my technology interact with other developments? Will other technologies help me think about a company like Netflix. Their whole model is based on the idea that internet speeds should be fast enough. Did they lay all the fiber cables? No, right? Their businesses set up and succeeded because there is all this infrastructure that was created, right? So sometimes the idea or invention that you might have might benefit from bigger technological advances, and you can piggyback or benefit from related advancements. So you should keep an eye on that kind of initiative. I also know of an example where someone is developing some materials for membranes, water filtration and different kinds of filtration membranes. They have been working on it for decades. Now, when they were designing these membranes, they never thought about something called PFAS. Does anyone know about PFAS? Perfluorocarbons and other toxic chemicals. And the idea was that when they were talking about their technology, they never thought of their technology as PFAS free, when in fact it is PFAS. It is less toxic. Now, when people see that PFAS is a major problem, it can cause so many health challenges. People are looking for PFAS-free technologies, and these people have been developing it for 20, 30 years. So you might suddenly find that what you are working on was more expensive, and therefore nobody wanted it. And suddenly your product has this one feature that you never thought was important. And suddenly that is exactly what people want. And they are willing to pay a premium price for it, right? So in this way, you can explore some of these bigger picture ideas and also see how they interact with your technology and trends and see how it can help. Now, I had compiled, these are hyperlinked. I will share the slides after today. And what you will see is I looked at all of these sectors and looked at examples of artificial intelligence and how it might impact voice actors. So for movie industry and others, there are people who give their voice, and AI is being used. There are poets and poetry. AI is being used to write poetry and winning competitions. Painting, drug discovery, of course. AI and machine learning is being used to optimize, to explore new areas and all of it. Mathematics, something as abstract and specialized, AI is being used. So all of these are hyperlinks which give examples of advances or ways in which this technology. So this is again one wave that is happening at the moment. Now, whether it will be equally productive or highly beneficial in every application, perhaps not. It might do better in some areas, not so good in some areas. We will have to wait and find out. So it's a phase of flux, it's a phase of experimentation. Food delivery, robot office assistants are there. In Canada, I'm sure there must be at least a couple here also. There are robot servers who will come by with your food. You order something, you sit at a table, and a robot server will come with the food you order. And again, what is the unmet need there? It is expensive to hire people. It is expensive to train people. And sometimes these servers have a lot of turnover. They work for 2 months or 3 months and they leave and they go elsewhere. And then you have to find another person to hire. With a robot, you don't have to worry about those kind of challenges. Beer brewing, there is AI being involved to identify newer ways or better combinations and all that. Warehousing automation, I've had scientists or engineers in the classroom who have been working at Amazon, looking at warehouse automation and how that can be done. So there are robots already doing things like that. Then we have sushi chefs. So those who had sushi or see sushi. So it's something that's highly specialized, but now there are robots doing that. Robot harvesters, the berry harvester that I was explaining yesterday, there are ways people are trying to improve that. And self-driving trucks. So self-driving trucks are more commonly used in the mining industry. Now, when we are talking about electric vehicles and everybody having iPads and iPhones, all of it needs batteries, which needs raw materials which come from mines. The mines are in very, very remote parts of the world. And so if there is an accident at a mine which is thousands of kilometers, sometimes away from human habitation and hospitals, you don't want drivers or people involved there to be stuck. So you have driverless trucks that are being used in mines now. And again, these are all examples of the ways that technology is getting integrated more and more. Of course, we are still waiting for self-driving, and there are problems with autonomous driving vehicles, and that's a whole area. We had a R&D engineer from General Motors who was formerly from an IIT and who had come in and given a talk at my center a year back, and he was exploring and telling us about some of the developments in this space. So all of this to say that when you are developing your startup, there can be other related technologies that could be potentially helpful, or at the very least, you need to be aware of these advances so that you can explore if they are competing with your product or if they can be complementary to your product. Now, so we thought that for your technology, there will be a range of market applications, so multiple markets. How will you choose? You will look at market size and growth. Is the market growing? Is it too small a market? What is the quality of the solution you offer? How does it compare with your competitors' offerings? So you remember the example of the laser. It is rare that your technology is first in the world. More commonly, whatever you are developing, there is some product doing something similar or related on the market. How are you better than that? You have to have a very clear understanding. Then, when you think about making that product, what kind of margins will you have? Will it be profitable? And will people be willing to pay the price that you ask? Pricing is also a whole area, right? So competitors are offering some similar products at some price, and you want to understand what are the features of their product, how your product is better. If they are selling it for, say, 20,000 rupees, can you sell it for 25? Can you sell it for 18? Typically, many startups I talk to, they say we will price our product lower. Even if we are offering better quality or new features that weren't there, the most common reaction that I get is we will start low. But I often encourage people to think about charging at least the market rate or slightly higher if you have the quality or if you are offering something very unique and extremely valuable. The reason is, if you charge lower, you have to sell more units to make the same amount of money, right? You have lesser margins, so you have to sell more. But if you have higher margins, you have to sell less. As a startup, it is more challenging to sell more because you don't have experience of sales, you don't have a sales team, you don't have the network, people don't know about you. So the chances of a small startup having lot of sale in initial years is low. It is possible sometimes if your product goes viral or something, which then becomes another challenge because there is a big mismatch between demand and what you can manufacture, which is another problem. That you promised something. I know of companies, for example, which looked at something simple as wallets. And they said, we will use parachute material to make wallets. And parachute material is supposedly extremely durable because it has to be durable, because if a parachute doesn't work, people will die. So the material is extremely durable. What if we can make wallets of parachute material or similar material, so that however much or lot of things you put in the wallet, still the wallet is very thin, which means people can walk more comfortably, sit more comfortably. So they connected something that was designed as parachute fabric and connected it to making wallets. And there are instances like that where once they put it on some of these crowdfunding platforms, the demand, they were expecting demand for like, well, we'll get maybe sell 100 units in say first month. They got 10,000 orders, and now their production capacity is not ready for 10,000 orders or more than that, right? And so then there is this mismatch that can lead to challenges. So at times, getting too much demand too early can also be a problem. So all of this to say that you have to anticipate and plan and understand your customers and their needs as much as possible, and then you stage your growth as much as possible. Now, when you're evaluating markets, it's not all positive in that market size is great, people are willing to buy, your product is best quality. Sometimes there can be challenges to enter a new market. There might be regulatory challenges. Especially in healthcare and some other domains, you need to certifications, approvals, and that will take months, sometimes years to get those approvals. Without that, the product, even after getting developed, cannot be sold or offered for sale. Then time to revenue. It might take more time to sell all these units and to generate revenues over time and scale up your production. Sales and distribution challenges. This is where many startups struggle, and where many incumbents have built large sales teams over long periods of time. They can sell in all parts of the country and different parts of the world. Many health authorities have partnerships with the larger companies, but will struggle or be unaware of or not ready to buy from a small startup. One of the reasons is, suppose you are buying from a small startup, you don't know whether that startup will be there next year. And what if the machine or equipment that you purchased needs some service or some repair, right? So technology is great, but for whatever reason, the startup did not survive. And now some hospital or health authority has a product on which it spent a couple of $100,000, and there is nobody willing to service it, right? So what are people buying? Are they buying the product, or are they buying the product and service package? That is why many medical device startups at times get acquired by the much larger companies, because those larger companies have the sales network, they have all of these business development teams, and have the agreements in place with all of the health authorities that can get them access. Health authorities also at times can have criteria like, to sell to them, you need to have 10 years of track record. So it's a chicken and egg situation. How can you have a 10-year track record when you are a startup and haven't sold? So finding that first customer, again, that first market, first set of customers becomes incredibly important, particularly in these kind of domains. And then, of course, all of this is happening when there is an existing player in the market. Imagine yourself as having done all the hard work of forming a startup and struggling through all of these challenges, and finally being successful after, say, 5, 7, 10 years, and you are well established. Then one day, another startup emerges, making a product similar to yours. And now you are the incumbent. You have the network, you have the sales and distribution, you have all of the connections with, say, the doctors and others. What will you try to do? You will try to either acquire them, or you will try to find ways to control them, or right? That is the natural behavior of incumbents. So when you are the startup and there are other players more established in the market, they will try to see if they can acquire you, or they can, if your technology is really valuable, if you have strong intellectual property protection, they can do that. Otherwise, they will wait for you to get that market traction. In many cases, startups run out of funding by themselves. In many cases, they don't get connections with hospitals and other agencies, and they lose, they don't survive. But in case somebody survives and start growing, that is when the true competition starts. Okay, so with all of these factors, what I want to do for all of you to do now is to start here and start writing. You can do it either on your laptops or on paper as you are comfortable, and think about what are the core technological capabilities. And remember, you don't have to tell me how you do it. You don't have to reveal your secrets. You can just say, this is what I achieve. I can make a stronger adhesive, or I can make a weaker adhesive. How you make it, you don't need to share. But what is the end goal? What do you achieve from your technological capabilities? And then we will explore what could be potential different market applications for your ideas. And think about it broadly, like it would be unusual if you just had the one thing that you do. It's possible that your technology might do 2 or 3 things. You might say that, well, I'm designing batteries. What I'm making is safer. It is lighter. It has more energy density. There might be a couple of different things that your technology does. So for your idea, your technology, is there anything specific? And whenever anyone is ready, feel free to share with the rest of the class. Not your secrets, just the outcome.
Hi, I already have started this product. It's a platform. It's a AI-based platform, which identically clones your thoughts and views. So I have combined this AI model, LLM models, with the social media app. So it will go back and learns from your past post, learns about your style, view, thought process, everything. So it will create a persona of you, and then it will start creating content based on your thoughts and views. Then you can post it in all your social media. So I have combined all the social media platform in one platform and created with the LLM based model. So the model will create a persona for you, and then you can post your thoughts every day. So it's a seamless thing. It's already alive. I'm looking for my first customer, but basically I'm struggling with the marketing. That's where I am right now.
Good, good. And where do you see the market application for something like this? Like, who would be interested in this kind of solution?
It's basically for all the marketing agencies who are marketing for the products. That's our priority. And then the individual people who post for their, the small scale manufacturing or small scale one person product sellers, they can use it for themselves. They are the most or preferred customers right now. The third person, like me, while I was working as an IT employee, I just go scramble something and then I post it. So the people like me can use it as well.
Good.
That's where I see it. But the marketing agencies, I'm just going there and then showcasing my product to them. But the individual customers, like the small scale manufacturers, or who I'm struggling with, or I'm struggling to connect them with.
Yes. So you have a couple of very different, so for the same technology or idea, you have a couple of very different distinct markets. It might be marketing agencies, it might be small entrepreneurs, or one-man teams who have lot of things to do, but limited time to do it, and they need some kind of support. Now, of course, there might be some level of competition in this field.
Yes.
And you would need to try and understand user needs in each of these segments to see where your product is the best fit, better than competition, what kind of pricing that you might be able to charge, how you might be able to tweak and refine your products. In Vancouver, we have a company called Hootsuite.
Hootsuite is it's all over.
Yeah.
But it's a higher end.
Yes.
They have it, but they don't have a content creation.
Yes.
Yes.
So there is back end work being
Yes.
done, and but the idea is again social media
Hootsuite,
dashboard
combines all the social media platforms and posts from one platform.
Yes.
But they don't have the personalized persona creation and then post
Right.
it on your thoughts.
Right. Right. So you would want to, if you see that persona creation as the central element of your business, so as the uniqueness of your business, you would want to try and find a market application distinct from Hootsuite,
Okay.
where the persona is important.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Where it is really important that the individual is highlighted, and
So
it
I
is not
shouldn't start with
just
social media
yeah.
platform. I should start with the cloning of your
Yeah, so you
thoughts and
would
views.
want to, like, if that is what the market tells you
Okay.
that they need, then you want to connect to that sort of application
Okay.
where the persona or the individual is valued, and therefore you can build.
Okay.
Now, one aspect in all of this, what I will also suggest is the success of any business is built on that sustainable competitive advantage, in that you also want to make sure that what you make or what you provide, others should not be able to copy and do very quickly.
In AI world, an AI based application, anything can be copied within a
Yes.
maybe maximum a week, minimum in an hour they can copy it. Yes.
Yeah. So that is one thing that maybe, for example, your understanding of the customer and their needs will allow you to design some unique aspects,
Okay.
or you will get trust from the group.
Yeah.
Trust cannot
That's
be
what I'm
copied
looking for. Yes.
easily.
The trust,
right?
and if you start using the application first, you will hesitate to move on to other platforms for some time.
Yes.
That's the
So
one thing.
something along those lines.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
sharing. Yeah.
Actually, Gautam comes under a professor named Ramesh Babu. He's currently into image processing domain, and we have we have some papers over segregation, waste segregation, and our idea totally into the waste segregation. Mainly, recent times there are waste segregation models and machines are still there. Existing models are there, but those machines specifically focuses on one particular type of waste. For example, if I take a paper industry, they are using the from raw material till the production of a paper, they used to have certain type of waste, and those waste will be collected by collected for further reuse or recycling process. So certain way each industry is focusing on a particular type of waste, and each industry is focusing on that. Now, not in a broad aspect. There is a survey called Water Waste 2.0, which states like over the all type of waste is municipal solid waste accounts for the maximum account, and which includes 50 percentage, around 57 percentage of the waste will be into organic one. Just the organic waste alone counts for that, but none of the technology is developing any ideas or machines that can segregate the waste types, specifically focusing on the organic stream. And we took that as a challenge, and we have a algorithm based out of ML and combining mathematical algorithms as well. So with our algorithm, we will be able to classify the waste streams. But what we are the core capabilities that our algorithm has is accuracy. The type of waste it has been segregated, we have the accuracy part. Our algorithm is easy to combine with an IoT models like the smart bins that are already existing one. But the thing is, we are planned to extend our aspect in a different way, like a support system model combined with the smart bin aspect. Same bin, it's not a bin actually. It is a model where we can dump our waste. At the same time, the certain kind of waste are also not waste. The term waste is defined by us, which is not actually the term, like there are certain things which I consider as a waste, but certain other people may consider that as a valuable treasure, not as a waste. So those kind of materials, like if it is in a good quality, so I want to dispose, I'm disposing, but it can be used for some other person. They can also use that one. So we are analyzing in that way to create such a model where we can also dump the waste, and those wastes which are in good quality can be used by some other needy one as well. So this is what we are planning. This is the core technological idea that so far we have. What we lack is we came from mathematical background, and we lack the aspect of commercialization of the particular idea into the model one. The prototype, we have an idea, but we don't have a clear view on how to approach that. And we also connected with certain platforms where they are focusing on the segregation of waste, but the problem is they're focusing on a large scale. The dump yard, from the dump yard they're collecting the waste and do the segregation. Though they are facing some issues, we have discussion with certain firms, but the cases we still lack the interactions. As you mentioned in the first session, we lack that, the what to say, the conferences, things like those kind of things we lack. And when it comes to the market aspect, we have a application over many industries focusing on a specific kind of waste. We have to choose the industry, and currently we are having an idea of focusing into the organic waste streams. And also the we are going to narrow down the product. Like, I'm focusing on collecting the waste. Like, organic waste is into different streams, collecting the organic waste and producing certain kind of product. For instance, from food waste I can create a biochar or bio oil. Focusing on one particular product, we are going to collect the waste. This is what we have an idea of making things.
Yeah. So yeah, this is yeah, I would say that this is potential for a lot of impact, of course. So from what I understood, you would tend to base your capabilities and that of your team around imaging.
Yeah.
Right? And therefore resolution of imaging, speed of imaging.
Exactly.
And you would want to think about application domains where your algorithm and process can go through large volumes of waste very fast, right? So that's a technical problem in that what is the capacity of imaging and separation. Then there will be an aspect where your team's focus is on imaging, but there needs to be some other engineers or other people involved who will be maybe collaborators who will design the actual product, right?
Yeah.
So you might be the software or the brain in that product, and then there is the mechanical or some of the other aspects. Then you have to perhaps think about the question of, related to the speed of imaging, what is the nature of the raw material that you handle? Is it going to be hundreds of different types of waste combined together? Or you have some industrial processes where there are 2 or 3 main categories and you have ways of separating. So you may want to explore municipalities. There might be larger municipalities, there might be smaller municipalities. One of the groups I have worked with somebody who is doing something similar in another country, and one of the things I was telling them is waste can be of different types. Let us assume that you find a way to separate milk packets or milk cartons. So in the West, you get milk cartons in plastic cartons or things. So you think about one thing, and lots of people consume milk. There are lots of milk cartons, lot of waste, one particular kind of waste. From all the other waste, you separate this one type, and then you can reuse that plastic, right? So you're eliminating one thing. It is for you to decide from a technical perspective, is your technology at a level that it can target solid municipal waste with all of the different things that are possible. It might be small metal particles, it might be pieces of toys, it might be old shoes, It might be cricket bats or badminton rackets, broken pieces. It might be old tires, right? So are you thinking of your technology as separating hundreds of different things at scale, at speed? Or would your technology start off, you might want that as the larger target, but would it be perhaps feasible to start smaller with trying to take one thing, right? And if you think of that one thing, then you might want to explore what is that one thing that separating it is profitable, right? It's just not taking any one thing, but there has to be some economic value or logic to it.
Yeah, actually, we have analyzed this situation as well. Like when it comes to finding the specific, type of waste or specific user or a specific product that it turns to, we have a, what to say, we have a discussion over that, and we came to an analyzation that we lack in a way. We fail to find the, right product where that that particular product must suit the current way, which is in abundant quantity consumed by the user as well. At the same time, that particular product has to be recycled or reused into some other way that is also more beneficial to the society or the consumer. Yeah, that's when we come to a conclusion of that particular thing. When it comes to plastics, also there is a broad classification of types and
Grades,
users, and that also includes a diverse criteria. And that's where we struck, and our idea of expanding things struck there, and we just came to expand that particular knowledge from here, and that's it.
Yeah. For example, think about these water bottles. So very common, you'll find it everywhere. It will be possibly part of solid municipal waste. You may not initially start off solving all of the problems inside municipal waste, but you might be able to separate these and then recycle these out. So that might be one way to start. And the point is that when you start and you generate some revenues, that gives investors confidence that more can be done. So you can do more research.
And I have two more questions to you as well. The first one is into, so far we have attended 3+ sessions, 3.5 sessions from yours. And I just, from the beginning, I am not scared of starting a startup. I'm just that much confident in doing things like, okay, let's try.
Yeah.
But after hearing the first day session, I came to an realization that, it takes time. It takes too much time, actually. For me to generate a revenue, for me to accomplish things, it takes a lot of time as a scientist or as a researcher. But if I invest my whole time creating a startup, investing my whole time into the technology, the marketing aspect, everything, then I don't feel like I will be profitable from that. So what will your take on being a full-time investor or a technologist, a researcher into a startup, or I can do and I can invest my part of my time into this, which will be the best option that you can suggest?
So I will suggest a couple of things. As a scientist and engineer, you would want to start from data and evidence. So one way to think about it is, if you are not already doing so, get samples of municipal solid waste and test how effective your imaging solution is, right? What is the range? That is one aspect. And let your technology development guide you on what you want to. If you think it's TRL, it's moving, you have lab scale feasibility, you are moving towards real world feasibility in real world conditions, then perhaps you want to explore, okay, jumping all in. The other approach is, while you are doing this, you may want to try and work in an industry that is related to this area. Not only will you develop contacts, you will truly understand what actually goes behind the doors. So there is research out there to talk about plastic grades and things, where researchers who have spent time looking at the grading of plastics, and they say, like many of the things that are written, and we think it is all getting separated out and everything is done very nicely. it's probably not the case, right? So you need to, if you want to spend time and understand more of the back end, how it operates in real life, that will only help you when you finally decide to form your venture. So let your technology development go side by side. You join some
That will
industry.
help
That
me
is one
broaden
way,
my
right?
knowledge stream as well.
Yeah. So
Uh,
that is one way I would think about it. And yeah, take a careful. Let the data guide you. Let the market needs guide you. When you go into that sector, you will also understand how do municipalities pay for all this, right? At the end of the day, somebody has to pay for this. So you're solving the technical problem, which is separating the waste and characterizing it, and somebody will recycle and all of it. But at the end of the day, you also have to understand, do some municipalities pay faster?
when you're starting today's session, you just mentioned like not all problems has a solution, and if we have some ideas, that doesn't mean that has to turn into a startup, right? And the startup should have a connection with the current trends as well. And what I want to ask is, I have a model. For instance, I have a product itself. That particular product doesn't have any value in the current trends, but it might have any aspect of acknowledgement over years, upcoming years. But the current trends doesn't match my product, and it has not much of value but has some value. Can I, as a person, invest in such a model, like invest my time to start such a startup focusing on the product?
Yeah. So can you just repeat your question in brief?
Like my product doesn't have any value in the current
In
trends.
the
Yeah, the current users have like they can use, but it's not that much, like it can solve the 10th problem of the human
Yes.
being. But in the future, upcoming days, over the years, it may be the first problem that the human might the users might face.
Yeah.
So focusing on
you
such
move
problems, can I work on further?
Yeah. So one way to think about it is, if you are really keen on solving that particular problem, which is 10th at the moment, it might be 10th in one country, or one jurisdiction might be first in another country. For example, imaging, separating, say, plastics. Let us focus just on plastics. Plastics are there in solid waste. There is also something called the Great Pacific Garbage Patch in the Pacific Ocean. Right? I'm told it is the area the size of France.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? You also know that countries like Indonesia and India, there is a lot of pollution in the rivers. Again, a lot of it to do with plastics, a lot of it to do with imaging. There are a lot of philanthropies and philanthropists and agencies that are
NGOs
trying
are also
to
combining,
clean up the rivers,
yes,
which is going to help everyone. So there might be ways for your technology or some aspect of your technologies to be useful in making our rivers and lakes to be cleaner, using the same technology, but not with municipal solid waste, which is more, right?
Yeah, we have an idea with it as well.
Right. So those are the kind of. Okay. Anyone else would like to try?
So I have been working on my product for the last 3 years. So mine is a probiotic drink made with fermented coconut water. I initially had a shelf life problem with it, like it only lasted for like 1 week and the rancidity became the problem. So I then worked on to maintain the shelf life. So I incorporated green synthesis biotemplated nanoparticles into it, and I extend the shelf life to like 4 weeks, month. But the main problem that I'm now facing is like the storage and the sales and distributions kind of things, and where to place the price of my product.
Okay.
That's the main issue.
Okay.
Because the thing is, I don't want to come up with too costly or premium product, because I want that product to be affordable. So that like my aim was to create a probiotic drink that will be affordable, yet at the same time gives much health benefits as possible. Because the probiotic product that is available in the market promise this much count of CFUs and health benefits, but the bacteria in them is not even alive when it reaches the users. It doesn't do anything. They just drink plain water or plain curd. That what it does. So my try to maintain the viability. So my ability is maintained and the effects are maintained at the end of when it reaches the users. But at the same time, I want to keep the price at a moderate level. So what's your take on that?
My take, a couple of things. Many of the younger people I talk to are very health conscious. They are extremely careful about the kind of foods they eat and what they drink. And that is a growing trend worldwide. So there will be potential. The couple of questions are, what you are describing seems like part of it is a packaging issue.
Yeah.
And that then leads me to think that has somebody already not solved the packaging side of it?
Thing is, it can be solved. I have an idea. It can be solved with lyophilization. It can be easily solved. But the problem is that it has like a social dilemma. Like when I propose a drink, it should be easy. Like they have to come and drink it. They will not be able to like open the packet, pour it, mix it. Like there will be time consumption. I want to reach the general market rather than focusing on the specific niche audience. Like that will be the first phase of the startup, like targeting the premium audience. When I want to move up the scale, I want to target the general market. So in that aspect, if there's the drink should be easily accessible by everyone. Just open it and drink. But if I left it to that, that then became the problem repeats. The acidity becomes over fermentation happens, shelf life issues happens, the temperature differences, those kinds of things happen.
Yeah. So it is possible that you will perhaps need to think carefully about, I think what you have in your mind is mass market.
Yeah.
The way, perhaps one way to think about it is mass market might be your eventual goal, but you want to start in some other niche first. Now, what could be that niche? Who values and who will pay a premium for some product? Is it sports persons who want something organic or who want something that's very specific? Is it parents who want to give something healthy for their children? Is it something that can be given in hospitals to convalescing patients? Where will you find a group of people together who would buy that product during short periods of time? Is it music concerts? Thousands of people, many of the people are health conscious. They don't want to drink something that is alcohol based or something. Instead, you have. So you can think about all of these are very different markets. The underlying demographic might be the same, but they are different people in different locations with different aesthetics, right? So I would see mass market perhaps as an eventual goal, not as something you start on day one. Maybe one of the things that might be holding you back is in your mind, you are thinking, I want to be there in every store. Everybody should keep it like they keep.
I initially had the thought, but then I came down to one specific market, like you were suggesting.
Yeah.
But still, the problem is that the pricing issue and overall issue is what I'm concerned about. Like the
Yeah.
pricing issue.
I wouldn't worry too much about the pricing. There are enough and more people willing to pay premium for these kind of things. The main thing you want to really iron out is your packaging, and I think that is a problem that is solved for many other, whether it's aluminum cans or whether it is different kinds of the cartons that are used. In fact, I just bought a huge carton of coconut water back before coming here, especially during the summers. If you think very big picture, with climate change, every place is going to get hotter.
Yeah.
With the way societies are evolving, people are becoming more health conscious. They don't want sugary drinks. They want natural drinks. So across the world, whether you go to Australia or Canada or wherever, right? So globally, natural beverages which don't have artificial sweeteners, they are only going to increase. The kind of beverage you are talking about is only going to benefit from that condition. I told you about what are factors that accelerate adoption. Heat will accelerate adoption, right? It's only going to get hotter. So there are some things in your favor. What you need to choose is where do you want to start? What is that first problem that you want to solve? And from my understanding, it seems that it's to do with packaging. understand and try and figure out, well, this is something that has been solved. So how do you integrate that solution with what you currently have, right? And then maybe you're from Kerala, think about the resorts, right, to have partnerships. In Vancouver, we have cruise ships, thousands of people coming on a single cruise ship. And you can have partnerships with cruise ships or with hotel chains, premium hotel chains. Enough and more ways to explore, right? And you just need one break and one start. Or if you say something like, it also has to do with marketing, where you say, well, if you market it properly and then more and more people pick up. So mass market, eventually start off with some niche is my suggestion.
Thank you.
Anyone else would like to try? Yes. Do you need a mic? Yeah. Okay, sure.
Okay, so I'm actually currently dealing with a couple of companies. I mean, startup ventures. One of them I would like to just discuss with you, which
Okay.
is a company with a fintech background. We're trying to incorporate thin file borrowers, especially in the trading economies like the Middle East, because they don't have large of a manufacturing economy or an agrarian economy like ours or any other countries. So we want to enable traders in the Middle East, where again the trust factor is a key thing, to ensure that AI-based credit scoring is going to enable their you know, background history or their utility bills or credit card payments or anything which is non-tangible, which is not covered in the conventional method, to be captured and scored, based on which we want to enhance the credit scoring, so that all people like young people who are interested to start off with their own or want to come up with their venture will also be benefited out of. So that's something what we're trying. And one of the challenges that we are facing is data, because the entire AI modeling is based on data, and analytics, everything is on data. So banks or NBFCs or any other companies are highly, averse to sharing any kind of data, because again, it's sensitive one too, and it's again privacy laws and things of that nature. So how do we overcome this, the challenge of egg and chicken story?
Yeah. I may not have a quick answer to that. What I can tell you is that I talked a couple of months or a year back with somebody who was trying to do something similar in Africa. And so they were saying that, well, Africa as a continent is, again, many nations are growing rapidly. There is a lot of economic development happening there. And they are running into that same sort of challenge where many of the people want to start businesses or do things, but they don't have credit scores or they don't have that history. So how does a bank decide who is fundable, who is not, right? And so one of the ways that they were talking about it was they found a way to get people to install apps or one particular kind of app on their phone, and people always carry their phone around, and they had analytics from the phone and from their business applications, which said that person X works in, say, some industry or works somewhere. So from the phone, they can check, does he go every day on time to his job? Does he stay at the job all day? So over time, from something as simple as that, the analytics, what they drew is this person reliable? As a person giving investment or money, what you want to understand is integrity and is the person reliable or not. So from something very different in this kind of context, what they were trying to build up as a profile was, well, is this person using social media while they should be working? Right? So that app was in some way able to capture. Now, of course, there are privacy implications to all of this, and you have to find your ways to work around that in the different countries or jurisdictions you are in. But there were some unique or unusual ways in which data on patterns was used to develop an understanding of the reliability of individuals and therefore whether somebody is worth investing in, or their ideas are worth investing in. So it was again a support system for banks, or so who pays you if you are developing? Who is the person who needs that service, or who will pay you? So one approach in this regard was, instead of asking them for data, you are giving them data that you have collected, which then gets to the question of how do you collect that data. So that's one way that somebody has already tried to do this. So I would suggest exploring. There are enough and more fintech ideas and people trying, and there are various ways people are trying out these solutions. I'm sure that your jurisdiction is somewhat more unique, or the market that you're looking at is somewhat more unique. So there might be cultural aspects that can give you some unique advantage in doing it. So you might want to try and explore that and unlock that value. And that will perhaps help you to succeed. Let me try and remember, if I remember the name of that company. If that comes to mind, I will tell you. Sure. I hope this is a partial answer. I cannot solve everybody's queries in 5 minutes, but I can offer some suggestions. So that's the way you would want to see it. These are just suggestions. You are the decision makers, and you have to decide what is best for your technology and idea. What I can offer from my experience and understanding of different markets is what I have seen work in other places around the world.
Absolutely. And a part of the reason why I joined this course as well is it was talked about risk financing.
Mhm.
So, what exactly is the risk financing going to be about, or are we trying to
Well,
find any metrics for that?
yeah, Professor Pillai is a finance professor, and he will be speaking, or there will be some industry experts that he'll bring in. And now again, like depending on sector, sometimes the industry experts in finance are sector specific, right? So it depends if we find that match, and if it's exactly from the sector that you are focused on at the moment, then that might be a good alignment. So I would wait for next week to explore that topic.
Okay.
I also speak to scientists who are in some of these larger companies. So probably not the one that you might be referring to, but there are times when inside these large companies, individual scientists are coming up with new products and innovations, right? So they are scientists, they want to make new things, they are experimenting, testing. Sometimes what they make can cannibalize an older product, right? And that older product has its own sales team, has its own perhaps division, and lot of employees. And so this person who has invented something new says that, well, we sell a machine that does something, that does a scientific task in 18 steps. I have invented something that can do it in 3 steps. It will do it faster, it will do it cheaper, it will be much better, and they get the patents funded by the company and everything. And then somebody else from the company calls up and says, I think it will be a good idea if you keep it to one side, right? Because the way larger companies are sometimes structured is they tend to value what they already have, even when internally they might be developing new things, right? So there is a whole area of innovation management research which looks at activities inside large companies and incumbents and innovation happening. And that is why, if you look at technology history, at times, the people starting small innovative companies were originally employees of large companies. In fact, Tesla Motors, one of the key components of their car was linked to a company called AC Propulsion, which was a design firm in California. It still exists. And they saw themselves as industrial designers, and they said, Well, if somebody has an older gasoline vehicle and they want to convert it into an electric car, we will help you do that conversion, but we don't want to make cars ourselves. We'll just refit something on a retrofit on for some couple of people, and very rich people who have the money to do this in California. Their second car or hobby car, we will provide this. So Elon Musk and Mark Tarpenning and Martin Eberhard, they had gone there. Elon Musk came later. There were two other people who had started it. And I have written a research paper about Tesla and its origin story. The interesting thing is that the persons or key people in AC propulsion originally were working at General Motors. And this is just one example. There are many examples like this where large companies can at times be working on very innovative ideas, but then for whatever reason internally, those innovative ideas don't make it to the market, they get stuck internally. And sometimes these employees choose, okay, that's it, I'm going out, I'm going to start my own venture, and they do it. So that is one aspect. So of course, when you have an incumbent player with technology that is already in place, and I'm assuming with the numbers you are describing, this is global, so you're looking at the global market for all of this. One thing that if you're not already looking at, that I would look at is building up the publication record, so that you have to show to the scientific audience as to the validity of your measures and assessments, right? So that will be your strength. Because if they have for 50 years done 4 tests, and so the way certifications happen, you have to build that scientific evidence that you are doing better, and that is in the public domain, right? And you have to build that. Even that is not easy, those papers, everything, all that process will be there. But that as a startup, if you choose to do it your own way and not integrate with them, or they are not interested, or if you want to encourage them to integrate with you, the way, perhaps one way would be, you build your own capabilities by showcasing through patents and through publications that you are getting scientific traction, and people are believing, and you are following the protocols and following all of that, and your evidence, your testing procedures, your standard operating procedure, everything is lined up, and you build that evidence, and then it will become perhaps a little bit.
So my project is energy measuring and data collection. So can you tell me like which countries which will help me to scale up faster, like countries which is currently working on energy management and data collection?
Okay, so I have worked with some people, again, because just of the range of the ideas, I have worked with people who have looked at energy management broadly, whether software based or other things. What I would want you to think is, where is it most expensive? In the sense that you are proposing a solution. Without that solution, which industry or which group of people loses the most money? Because if they then use your solution, they would hopefully save a lot of money, right? So in the way you are structuring your solution, where is energy waste highest? In which industries? Is it in airports? Is it in steel plants? Is it in making roads? Which industry would you have maximum loss of the kind of energy that you are able to track? So any thoughts on that? Yeah. So you would want to think like that. Where is the maximum energy loss? I work with people who are thinking about more energy efficient airports. I have worked with people who are doing energy measurement and management for universities, for hospitals, for hotel chains, because hotel chains are international. there are so many rooms, they want to track water usage, they want to track electricity usage, not wasting anything, right? So in your area, you want to see, well, how do I help better energy utilization in a steel plant? Or do I work with a hotel chain? Or do I work with my university where there is a lot of opportunity? So you have to think along those lines. Maybe like it seems like your idea is very early stage and you are still exploring these different markets. So the guiding principle that I would suggest is, who is losing the most money? Are hospitals losing the most money because too much energy is wasted? Are steel industries losing the most money? So which places are losing the most money, and how can your solution help them save that money? Because if you walk in with a pitch and you tell them you are losing 10 lakhs per month or 1 crore a month, I can help you save that money. I think you will have some very fruitful conversations if you are able to back it up with your solution.
So I have done this project like for my final year project.
Okay.
I have already done this. Okay. So actually I'm working on different loads like inductive loads, resistive loads. Actually, this is a meter. Okay. With the meters data, I will be predicting the energy bill and I will be collecting the data. That is my project basically.
So this is for meters for households or industries.
Like currently I develop for household, but I can scale it to big projects also.
And what is the additional value that you're offering from, like, what are the weaknesses of current meters that your meter is doing much better? What is the...
Sir, I have added a feature like we'll be able to control a whole home application, home appliances. Like I'll be able to like if the fridge is using more energy, like I'll be able to identify that the fridge is having a component issue. Like I can understand what is happening with all household items which is consuming more, and I'll be able to identify is there any leak going, earth leakage going, and I can also give suggestions and measures. How can we control this and how can we optimize the usage?
Okay. So are you targeting individual house owners, or are you targeting large corporate entities managing multiple buildings or units?
Like so for data acquisition, I would like to go with the household first.
Because one way to think about, not all households have people who are very familiar with electrics and electronics and all of this. They will say, as long as somebody does that for me and everything is safe, I'll be happy.
Yes.
And so how does you want to move a step ahead where you don't just identify a problem and you say that, well, your fridge is consuming too much energy. You want to try and propose a next step. Like what you want to give people is a real answer or way to take it forward. Right? So my sense, and I have one person who 2 years ago was doing this in Canada, and what they realized was initially they started with homes, but
industry is more profitable.
Hundreds of individual households or thousands of individual households to pay you, say, $10 or 10 rupees a month for this monitoring fee or whatever, right? So that would be some kind of model that you would have. Is you will get some per month or some kind of rate. You will offer them some annual discount or things like that. But you are trying to convince individual people. That is very, very challenging. On the other hand, it is initially more challenging to convince a corporate, but then the corporate is a much bigger entity. So you can work with 2 or 3 corporates and you show them large savings, then it makes sense. If you tell a homeowner that you pay me so much and then I will save you 200 rupees in 1 year or something, may not be meaningful. So just think about who will yeah. Any other question?
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So these are some ways in which you can explore your technologies and look at different market applications. And like I showed here, you look at these unmet needs, make sure that you talk to the people who you will sell to. Don't move forward before doing that, is my advice. Don't imagine that somebody has a problem. You go and speak to the person who has the problem. You go and personally speak. Don't delegate it to somebody else. You go and speak to the person who will pay to buy your product. When you do that, the insights and the advantage you will have over other people who haven't done that hard work is you will design much better products, and therefore you will get more traction in the market. Unless you do that, then it's a little bit of a struggle. Okay, so with that we end today's session, and then tomorrow we'll look at a couple of different topics. I will share these slides with you and yesterday's slides with you. Thank you.